Hey everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of the Draftful podcast. I'm Vova Zeeon, a Ukrainian immigrant and a stand-up comedian based in Toronto. I don't come here to entertain you. I come here to share the rough drafts of my thoughts, my observations, and my own deconstructions. I'm here to face the things that everyone in this city acknowledges behind closed doors, but nobody is brave enough to say out loud. This is my open mic, my operating table, and my laboratory. Listening is free, but if you want to support the surgical procedure, you can buy me a coffee via the link in the bio. You're not obliged, but if you do, you're helping me stay a less starving artist and a much more comfortable liar. Follow the links in my link tree to keep up with the mess. So, let's stop playing clown and let's roll. I love it when the comedy community calls itself a brotherhood. There's nothing more hypocritical than using the word brotherhood for a crowd of strangers. By that logic, the whole world is a brotherhood. So there is no reason for wars or conflicts, right? In comedy, this brotherhood is built either for personal gain or to collectively hate someone more successful. Often it's both. I don't want to be a part of your brotherhood, to be honest. I just want to be a sane, adequate human being surrounded by other sane, adequate people who know their worth. Just as I know mine. We are not living in the 14th century anymore. We don't need palace intrigues just to physically survive. In the 21st century, we survive to fulfill ourselves and to escape mediocrity. That is the only way to survive in that digital noise, I think. But let's be real, the world will never be safe. Attempting to build a safe community in a dangerous world leads to pure absurdity. It's like dulling your knives so you can't cut anymore, but can only bludgeon someone to death instead. Or hanging a sign in a dangerous neighborhood that says, "Children leave here. After 9 p.m. please use a silencer on your gun. Thank you." Or a sign saying, "Racism, homophobia, xenophobia, and transphobia are not welcome here. We sell our drugs with zero bias." I didn't know the Toronto comedy scene before I moved here, but I'm guessing not much has changed, except maybe they've hung up a new sign. Please don't joke about violence as if you're actually committing it. And please smile. No, I'm not defending jokes about violence or the creeps who think it's funny to just say edgy garbage. By the way, some of those creeps have decided that my podcast is their new sanctuary. You're dead wrong, guys. Don't bring your shit into my operating room. There's already enough blood, guts, and industrial filth in here. It's like being a healthy person who brings their own stool sample to a doctor just because they want to keep hearing how healthy they are. At first it's just a small jar, but then that's not enough, so you bring a whole suitcase. No thanks, you're in the wrong office. Go see a therapist. The Toronto comedy stage is talking more about safety and security today. In my opinion, security is a profoundly hypocritical phenomenon. It gives you the right to be an absolute asshole to others, simply because you're obsessed with your own peace of mind. It's easy to get lost in this, but believe me, people obsessed with security are truly worse than those who are just normal. We feel the need to secure ourselves by any means necessary. And because of that, we keep arming ourselves more and more. We don't just put a lock on the door. Eventually, we convince ourselves that locks can be broken, so we buy a vicious dog to guard us. Once we realize the dog can be killed or that it might turn on us, we buy a gun. And the moment we buy the gun, we become a danger to society. And if society realizes that, it won't ask questions. It will throw you in prison for your own safety. Or kill you for the exact same reason. The funniest part is that while living in total safety, we start inventing stories that make us feel like the world is in danger. A zombie apocalypse, the end of the world, superhero comics. None of it is unrealistic because of the superpowers. That's a given. It's unrealistic because they never seem to deal with the mundane, daily problems at the scale we do. Take Superman, for example, the Man of Steel. A child escaping the destruction of his home planet. He grows up in America and helps people for free. He reaches the pinnacle of society, but secretly a lot of people hate him. He's the ultimate immigrant. But here's my main question. How the hell did he handle the paperwork? You're an infant who fell from Krypton onto a farm while your planet was being incinerated, and nobody asks questions? How did an elderly, childless couple, the Kents, suddenly have a baby appear out of thin air when the woman wasn't even pregnant? Why didn't Child Protective Services show up and ask, "Who is this kid? How are you going to raise him? Where did you get him? And why are there burned holes in your wallpaper?" Okay, even though, forget Superman. Okay, look at his arch nemesis, Batman. That's even more absurd and unrealistic. First off, parents killed, the kid is left in the care of a butler. Then he goes off to study martial arts and whatever, all while being a high society playboy, a philanthropist, and a billionaire. There is no way he doesn't have a private island somewhere where he parties with other billionaire friends just to avoid suspicion. I'd love to be Batman, but without all that fighting crime bullshit. Given that kind of setup, I wouldn't waste my time punching villains. I'd just invest that money into Commissioner Gordon. I'd make sure he could actually handle things, pay the police a decent salary, or there'd be no corruption. The Joker, Bane, Scarecrow? Who the hell needs that? Not the real Dark Knight. By the way, people are afraid of the dark. Why? Because in their minds, darkness is just the absence of light. To me, darkness is a void, or the unknown. No one wants to take a step into the abyss, only to realize it's just a floor painted black or a 3D drawing. We're terrified, we're on edge, we're waiting for the climax, all because we're not used to acknowledging or touching the void in our lives. That's why we stuff our empty heads with all kinds of bullshit. We fill our souls with the content that we think is proper. But in doing so, we just become reflections of that content, forgetting who we actually are. It's terrifying. Based on what I see around me right now, I'm just as scared of this uncertainty as you are. Every no-name comic, myself included, tries to look interesting and funny, pushing what actually haunts us into the background. I see hundreds of posters from hundreds of comics in my feed with dates for shows. I see hundreds of posters from hundreds of comics in my feed with dates for shows with thousands of followers and likes. But when it comes down to it, not a single one of those followers or likers will actually show up to see the person who made them laugh online. Because we're all special. Or at least we want to believe in that fact. But none of us will ever be special as long as we're stuck trying to please the masses that we, in our arrogance, call gray. I'm not sitting here in a white coat, acting like holier than thou or something like that. I've posted those flyers too, hoping for support, but in the end I realized I have no friends in here and no support system. That's when I finally understood they won't appear until I'm free and unreachable to them. until I'm the one dictating the terms instead of following the lead and coddling the feelings of people to whom I'm indifferent or for whom I'm just a tool. Speaking of tools, I've been thinking a lot lately about what it really means to be yourself in comedy. What does it actually mean to have a voice? Does it matter at all? And can I honestly say I've found mine? The only thing I've figured out is that I don't want to play by the rules of this industry. What triggered this? An interview Black Zeus did with Russell Peters. You know, the guy who's considered a deity of comedy here in Toronto and way beyond, the guy everyone wants to hang out with. But is he actually as good as everyone claims? Here's the master advice Russell gives to any comic trying to make it.
What is a specific piece of advice you can give someone that's trying to break out of a system that they just don't even know how to?
Be funny. It's the only way you get past everybody in this game. The game is about being funny.
It's that simple. And here I was wrecking my brain, trying to experiment, trying to infuse my sets with meaning. But Russell's answer is absolute genius. He also says that all he ever wanted was to just make people laugh.
And for me, it's all about being funny. Being funny, making the audience laugh. That's the only reward I wanted, was to hear laughter. If the money came, the money didn't come. I still want to make people laugh. It didn't really matter.
Money doesn't matter for him. It's all about the joy of comedy. Wait, let me get it straight. You're telling me that after decades of selling out arenas and building a massive financial empire, the money isn't the point? That's like a billionaire telling us he's only in it for the experience of owning a yacht. It's just as useful advice as having your legs give out from multiple sclerosis and having a doctor look you in the eye and say, just be healthy and start walking. Turns out my problem is that I don't want to be funny. I'm resisting it. Thank you, Russell. And while I'm at it, I want to thank all the life coaches who keep telling us we can get rich just by changing our mindset. Russell, I'm ready to volunteer. I'll take your money off your hands, and I'll even laugh at your jokes beforehand, if that helps. So if you're listening, or if anyone here can pass this along, I'd be happy to talk and to take that burden off you. And Russell, I'm officially inviting you to my shack for an interview to talk about comedy, but I'm more than sure you couldn't care less about me, just as much as you don't care about the comics you're handing out your useful advice to. And comics as well. I mean, we're still rushing for that laughs. We're still trying to give the audience what they want, but actually not trying to give what we want. It's like chasing that magic pill, you know? If you're trying to have something instantly, but not without any kind of work, without any kind of development, any kind of progress, that's the matter for me. I mean, we all want to be happy, but we don't want to be sad in here. Yeah, we all want the perfect body. We don't want to work out. We want Ozempic. We all want to be the creative musicians, but instead of that, we're just like buying those samples and arranging the dead bodies of melodies that some talented musician could record and sell for some pennies. Just like that. People want comedy with laughs, but no silence. And I think there is no jokes anymore. If you don't want a comedy without silence, and if you don't want to listen without silence, how can we say that you are listening and not just talking again to us while we're trying to make you laugh? It was Vova Zeeon in Draftful Dodger. See you when I'm looking at you.